Lesson learned part 2. I hung up and just sat there staring at the wall. I remember feeling embarrassed. Not because I asked. Because I realized I'd been stupid. That night, Emily sat next to me on the couch. She didn't say, "I told you so." She didn't lecture me. Instead, she walked into our bedroom and came back with a binder. Inside were spreadsheets, savings records, investment statements, emergency funds, everything. I looked at her confused. Then she said something I'll never forget. I knew this day might come. Turns out, while I was trying to save everybody else, she'd quietly been protecting our future. Every bonus, every tax refund, every extra dollar. She'd been saving and investing. Not hiding money. Protecting us. I almost cried. For 6 years, this woman had been planning for storms, while I was busy handing out umbrellas. That emergency fund carried us through the hardest period of our marriage. We kept our house. We paid our bills. We survived. Fast forward a year. I found a better job. Things recovered. Life moved on. Then last Thanksgiving happened. And this is where the story gets weird. My brother called. Out of nowhere. After nearly a year of barely speaking. At first it was small talk. Then he got to the point. He needed $30,000. His business was failing. The bank wouldn't approve another loan, and he wanted my help. Again. I wish I could tell you I handled it perfectly. I didn't. I laughed. Not because I wanted to hurt him. Because I genuinely thought he was joking. No. For the first time in my life, I didn't explain. I didn't justify. I didn't negotiate. Just, no. He got angry. Called me selfish. Said family should help family. The same speech I'd heard for years. Then Emily quietly reached across the dinner table and squeezed my hand. That tiny gesture reminded me of everything. The sleepless nights. The anxiety. The bills. The people who disappeared when we needed them. So I repeated myself. No. And that was the end of the conversation. At least I thought it was. A few months later, I learned something unexpected. My brother ended up selling unnecessary assets, cutting expenses, taking a second job, and slowly rebuilding. No bailout, no rescue, no miracle, just hard work. Last month he called again. This time his voice sounded different. He said, "You know, I hated you for saying no." I stayed quiet. Then he laughed. But honestly, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. That wasn't the ending I expected, but it taught me something. Helping people isn't always giving them money. Sometimes helping people means refusing to become their safety net. And the biggest lesson? The person who saved my financial future wasn't a financial advisor, wasn't a wealthy relative, wasn't a lucky investment. It was my wife. The woman who understood that protecting your family is more important than impressing your family.